Did you listen to Jeff and Professor Hamo in the morning? Here's what you missed.
So the Americans, on their part, fighting aggressively to end slave trade. This is around the early 1800s. So in 1822, they create a settlement in a place called Liberia. No, in a country that hadn't been named yet, sorry. They create a settlement, 1822.
Okay.
And they start shipping their willing slaves, any former slave who wanted to go back to Africa.
Willingly.
Yeah, it's like the movie Amistad. Did you ever watch Amistad?
No.
With Jimon Hansu, or Jaiman Hansu, and Anthony Hopkins. Anyway, so now they say, okay, this is the place. We found a country for you. You can all start going.
Ulianataka. Yes.
So tens of thousands got on boats, made their way across the Atlantic, and settled in this place. They didn't know where it was. I mean, they didn't even know if it was where they were taken out from.
Yes.
They would,
so,
1822, okay?
Yes.
They were by the American Colonization Society. Right? Something like that. So they set up this colony, if you will.
Okay.
Now, 25 years later, 1847. So now they're settled, right? Oh, by the way, they decided to call their seal on their flag when they came read, "The love of liberty brought us here." That's the seal on the flag. The love of liberty brought us here. So they decided, let's name our country Liberia after the word liberty. And then they said, because the fifth American president was so supportive of the anti-slavery movement and moving back to Africa, his name was James Monroe. They decided to name the capital
Monrovia.
Are we together?
Yes, we're together.
So that's what happened. 25 years later, 1847.
This is the fifth president.
Yeah, James Monroe. Monrovia. 25 years later, 1847, on July the 26th, 1847, they declared themselves independent now. Because obviously they had these close ties to America, but they said, you know, they weren't really colonized, but they declared their independence. 1847. Their first president was obviously one of the people who had come in on the boats.
Okay.
His name was Julius Jenkins Roberts.
Julius Jenkins Roberts.
These guys had American names that you would never believe.
And
they were mostly mulattoes, they call them there.
Mulattoes?
Mixed race.
Okay.
So get this, these mixed race people, they go thousands and thousands of miles across the sea.
Okay.
They come to this place, and what do they find? People who look like you and me.
Yes, natives.
Natives. Bas.
Wajiko.
So what happened? They decided to treat the natives the same way they had been treated in America.
So muingie kwa mashamba tuwapige viboko.
Bas, exactly. But it worked.
Yes.
For 150 years, almost 150, like 147.
So they came and made slaves of the natives.
Yes, but the natives didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So they just saw, you know, these people look like us, and we're getting along, and we're building a country, and they did. Liberia was one of the most peaceful countries on the continent. In fact, here's a fact.
Yes.
Right about when we were getting independence, early 60s towards the late 60s into the 70s.
Yes.
Elite Africans. You know how people get on a plane and go to Dubai for weekend or holiday when up like a family? Africans used to go to Liberia on vacation.
It was that good.
It was the place to be. Beautiful beach hotels, lovely infrastructure. It was incredible.
So
later on, the CIA decided, since you guys are our friends, we want to build a listening station here.
Okay. So wakuage na masikio yao kwa Afrika.
To listen to the continent in Liberia, which was agreed. And then NASA, the space people, they went a step further. They said, if our rockets are heading to the moon or to the station up there, if they lose their way back, you know, because of gravity and all that, there's like 3 or 4 places they can land on the planet. Right? There's of course Houston. Right? They can Cape Canaveral in Florida. There's some other country around the world, and Liberia. They built a runway there that's about 5 kilometers long.
Hii yenye mnatumia saa hii kama airport ama iko ikitumika?
Inatumika. You can use it as an airport, but if the space shuttle goes, it spins out of control, it can land in Liberia.
If there's a problem in Houston,
we have a problem.
Liberia.
We've got James Monroe. That's just an aside. So for 150 years, Liberia was peaceful. Everyone loved Liberia, the coolest place. There's a president during he ruled for like 29 years, from 49 to 71, something like that. His name was William Tubman. Do you know we have a Tubman Road here in Nairobi?
Tubman.
Iko wapi Nairobi? Tubman Road iko pande gani? I think hapo Biashara Street, hapo karibu na Biashara. There's a Tubman Road somewhere.
Kule chini huko.
Hata Monrovia Street.
Yes, kunayo.
Hapa. Anyway, Tubman, very popular.
Yes.
He really brought about a lot of changes. He was loved by the people. And he died in office, 1971. Taken over by his vice president, also William, last name Talbert.
Okay, so one T to another.
One T to another. WT, WT. So Talbert will be in office for 9 years. Now he's bringing about the changes. He's, Liberia is growing, but the native population is getting restless.
And it's growing.
9 years later, one April morning, junior officers from the army, led by one Samuel Canyon Doe. Those days security was, there was no security. You would walk in and out of State House like crazy. So Samuel Doe and his band of merry men literally walked into what they call the executive mansion, got into William Talbert's bedroom, pointed a gun to his head, and shot him.
You do need to bada boom, bada bing.
Bada bing, bada boom. Shot him right there. The next day, he lined up the entire cabinet on the beach behind the executive mansion. The entire cabinet had them all shot by firing squad. This was Samuel Doe. This, as villagers and people in the city cheered on. April 1980.
The end of slavery.
The end of slavery. Who came across the boat, by the way, they call themselves Americo-Liberians. As opposed to these locals who were themselves Mandingos. Man. Samuel Doe gets into power. Very populist. He says now the black people will rule.
Sasa ni kuosha town.
So they started, and that was the beginning of the end of Liberia as we know it. Fast forward, 1980, when we were flying now, Pan Am is still flying through Liberia, going to America. We stopped there a few times. Beautiful place. I mean, we spent great times in Monrovia. One day, most of the time we used to stay at the airport, which, by the way, was named after the first president. It's called RIA, Roberts International Airport, named after Julius Jenkins Roberts.
The first president.
Yes. First president.
Jomo.
But that airport is like in Machakos.
Far off from town.
45 kilometers away.
So,
or 45 miles actually. So it's like 70 kilometers. So kuja town in Shida. Anyway, we used to come to town. But on this particular time, we were told, no, there's been a coup attempt by some guy in the military. And I remember reading the name, and it never left my mind. His name is Thomas Koinange. Google him. Thomas Koinange. So he was a soldier in the military. He decided now, Doe is too much, I'm going to take over. And for like a couple of hours, he and his band of troops had taken over. And then Doe brought in his big boys.
So you say
they swept these guys. They captured Koinange. They how do you say when they split open your chest? They split him open, they took out his heart, and they put him in a wheelbarrow, and they paraded him up and down the streets of Monrovia.
Savage surgery.
Thomas Kui. There you go, bro.
Kuiwampa.
Am I lying?
Kuiwampa.
Kuiwampa. So that was the end of anyone trying to fight Doe. But Doe had realized Nikobaya.
Yes.
At the same time, a lot of Liberians had fled the country. You know, those ones who had come, educated ones.
From America.
Guess where they fled to?
Yeah.
America.
They went back. they paid for their own slavery now.
Yes.
They went back to Harlem. Yes.
The country that they had been told, hey guys,
for the love of liberty,
go
let us
create your own.
Yes.
Now they're fleeing to go back. So Doe didn't have very many smart people around him. One extremely smart person was very close to him.
Yeah.
His name was Charles Gankay Taylor.
Ah,
Here's
yes.
the story. So Taylor, smart. He was educated in America, spoke well. You know,
he's one of the
America, Liberia, very much so, even in looks and everything.
Yes.
So Doe put him in charge of what they call the government. GSA, government something. Anyway, this institution was responsible for all the tenders of the government.
Oh yes. Yes.
Taylor was in charge of all government tenders. So what he would do, Doe not being very smart, Taylor being very smart, allegedly now, for every government tender, he got a percentage.
Enko yake when
He must have been from Kenya.
And of course, Kiambu Dani. So
he gets his cut each time. Which was Doe gets to find out.
Oh man.
Doe asks for him to be immediately arrested. Taylor has received info that I'm about to be arrested.
Because
Taylor does a Waititu.
Take care.
Takes off
towards the beach
to America.
Of course.
With a bag full of cash.
Oh yeah.
They say it could have been up to $1 million back then.
Damn.
We're in the 80s, huh? Wasn't it the 80s?
So that's like $1 billion.
Thank you, cash. So he lands in America, in Boston, Massachusetts. At the same time, Doe is very good friends with American President Ronald Reagan. You know, because, the ties, America, this, that. They're very good friends. He makes a phone call. He says, hey, buddy, please have him arrested. Reagan says, no worries. Anatuma, FBI. Wanam? They put him in a prison, awaiting extradition to Liberia.
Yes.
Now here's where the story gets interesting. Taylor, nobody really knows how, but if you've ever read those movies, Escape from Alcatraz, or whatever, all those movies, they say he got some prison sheets. These are shuka na blanketi.
Yes.
And he slipped out of prison.
Dirisha akateremsha chini.
Gone.
In America.
That's how the legend goes.
Yes. Ama ni ile shilingi. Yeah. I think sheets ni ile shilingi.
I think you have done the math. But we'll stick to the legend.
Let us stick to the legend.
Taylor escapes from Plymouth Correction Center. Thanks, Katiba, for the background music. He makes his way to Ghana. He's not gonna cross.
Yes.
He's now he's determined I'm gonna go back and kick that guy out. Yeah. Ghana. From Ghana he goes to Burkina Faso. Right?
So he's hovering around.
He's looking for support.
Yes.
From Burkina he ends up in Libya. Where the brother leader.
Oh yes.
Who's
Muammar.
Who's for the liberation of all of Africa.
Yes.
Welcomes him. And his troops, must have had like 28 guys. Gives them some military training, gives them some arms. He says, go back and liberate your country.
Training
do ametushi.
Hiyo do uko na do. Patana na huyo do mwingine. Uko na do.
So he makes his way back to Liberia. Remember he's gone in Libya.
Yes.
Comes through Burkina Faso again. Through Ghana. Crosses over to Ivory Coast. Crosses to Freetown, Sierra Leone. Making his way to Liberia. So he's at the border of Liberia.
Yes.
This is Christmas 1989. He sends message ahead. He says, Doe,
I'm coming for you.
I'm coming for you. Exactly. And he told the villagers he would send his scouts ahead. He said, listen, there's going to be fire raining from heaven. Either you're with us or you're against us. And he started his campaign. Christmas Day 1989. Going towards Monrovia. Village after village, burning, looting, raping, murdering, killing, everything. If you didn't join him,
you died. A
few weeks later, he made it to a place called Gbanga. Gbanga. Gbanga, Banga they call it. G is silent. Gbanga. So he decided to make that his capital. It's about a maybe 3-hour drive from Monrovia. And he decided, let me consolidate, let me regroup before we go in. In the meantime, Monrovia has become untenable.
For dough.
Because there are now 2 other factions fighting him. Both of them led by guys called Johnson. So they called it Johnson and Johnson. Yes. There's a guy, a real nasty warlord called Prince Yomi Johnson. He led one group. Then there's another guy, intellectual, a smart guy, older guy called Roosevelt Johnson. So these 2 Johnsons are closing in on Doe.
Wako ndani ya Monrovia.
Taylor bado ako wapi? Ako Nakuru.
Past Nakuru kidogo. 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yes.
In the streets of Monrovia, is now controlled by gangs.
Yes.
One such gang who used to answer to one of the Johnsons, Roosevelt Johnson, owned, let's say they controlled Kenyatta Avenue. It was divided, it was literally, the town was divided. So let's say they controlled Kenyatta Avenue.
Yes.
It was led by this young 17-year-old whose name was Joshua Bly. He had his bunch of thugs, he called them, brigade. He called it his brigade. Now, every time, let's say on Kenyatta, right? Wanatia around, hustling people, really
unaacha tax.
Kama huna.
20.
So, but every time they saw now the enemies around the corner, enemy wako Uhuru Highway.
Yes. They are coming over.
Wanakuja. All of them would strip naked. The entire brigade, about 50, 60 people, stripped naked.
To
soldier, 8, 10-year-olds. And they would all put on some potions. They call them, potions to give them good luck.
Yes.
Zile za Zile za kisi. And they would start fighting. Now, there was an international journalist on the ground, I think American, and they just happened to witness one of the days that this guy was fighting. And he saw these guys are all naked, but with AK-47s and grenades and RPGs, but they're all naked. And he witnessed, he filmed this, he took the pictures, and after in the caption he wrote later, "This is the General Butt Naked Brigade." Nobody could dare ask Joshua Bly, what's your real name and what are you thinking? But they were known now, very famously known as the Butt Naked Brigade, led by this general, 17 years old, General Butt Naked. That guy was a terror. He was horror. He was people, when they heard jump, they speak a funny English, they go jump, Bane. But nigga, they swallow the words. You have to listen properly to understand them.
Even today.
But even today,
they speak like
Bane.
So they're Bane. Yeah.
So anyway, let me fast forward. No, I'll tell you. Remind me. Remind me. So that's General Butt Naked, who answers to Roosevelt Johnson, one of the warlords. Prince Yomi, on the other hand, is pushing towards the executive mansion. He gets there first, surrounds those troops, slaughters them all, gets into the mansion, captures Doe.
Here comes the kid.
Now, they capture Doe, they tie him up, and in front of a French crew, there's a TV crew, a French team, they started torturing Doe on TV. First cutting off his left ear. then his right, and then they worked their way down to his genitals. Doe is screaming for his life. He says, just please kill me, kill me, kill me. It took about another 7 or so hours. Prince Yomi Johnson was tired of all the screaming, pulled out his gun, killed him, shot him in the head. After all that torture. That video is still available in the streets of Monrovia, by the way. The killing of Doe. So now he's killed Doe. Roosevelt Johnson is right behind the corner, right around the corner. Charles Taylor is on his way in.
Coming.
Sasa
Ako Kinongi. Sasa analipua kulipua.
Bus. It's all hell breaks loose. Are you listening? Child soldiers control the streets. These adults can't decide what they want. It's all every man for himself, God for us all. Women are being raped, children are being decapitated, men are being slaughtered. You know the short sleeves and long sleeves? It started in Liberia. You'd be asked, hey, what do you want? You want short sleeve or long sleeve? And that's what they would do. Kill, rape, loot, burn, murder, everything. Now the West African community, like East African community, right? Wanayao Koinange ECOWAS.
Yes.
They sent in their troops, peacekeepers, mostly Nigerian.
Yes.
Nigerian troops come in. These rebel soldiers, they don't care who's coming in. Man,
this is our land.
They slaughtered them. One after they slaughtered.
These Nigerian troops.
Peacekeepers were having a hard time because these guys had sophisticated weapons. They had all the weapons, and they were children, and they didn't care.
They are dragged.
Monrovia at that time. Remember I said it was one of Africa's peaceful countries? It had become one of its most violent when we started covering the war now. Now it's the mid-90s. Sasa tumeingia.
Sasa muachana na ndege uko chini kwa ground. Tufanye kazi. Yes.
Man, I saw a different Liberia, man. The way a country becomes when it goes to war with itself. So, fast forward. In the end, the three leaders decide, okay, under ECOWAS umbrella, they said, look, we can't continue fighting. We're going to destroy this country forever. Let's have elections.
Yes.
Whoever wins becomes president.
Yes.
Charles Taylor, who's made his way all the way from the east through Banga, is in town. He says, let's do it. But if I don't win, I'm going back to... He told the people, if I don't win, I'm going back. He was the bigger, the kahuna. Yes. Yes. And he's got Libya supporting him, remember? Yes. In the end, Charles Taylor wins.
Campaign strategy.
1987. He wins. No, 1997. Sorry. Yeah. Good, thank you. 97. He wins. Right?
Yeah.
The other two flee into exile. Prince Yomi ends up in Nigeria, becomes a preacher. This thing is very... Prince Yomi, who cut off Doe's ears in other parts.
Live on TV.
Live on TV, has become a preacher in Nigeria.
Yes.
Our good friend, Joshua Bly.
The butt-naked general.
The man who likes to fight butt naked.
Yes.
He has also found God. And he's preaching in the streets of Monrovia.
My goodness.
Preaching to the same people whose families he slaughtered and killed and raped and burned. Same people. Fast forward. Taylor's in office 6 years. Very unpopular. The guys, rebel troops, they go back into the bush. They come back in the form of a group called LURD. Liberians United for Reforms and Democracy. They get support from we don't know where, and they start now pushing towards the capital. They want Taylor out.
Yes.
We're in there. We're covering this whole thing. Obasanjo is president of Nigeria. He flies in. He says, man, this country is so messed up. Let's save it. He flies in, convinces Taylor, why don't you come to Nigeria? I'll give you exile.
Yes.
I'll give you a place to stay. Nobody will ever bother you.
Yes.
Flies in. He makes the announcement. Taylor has agreed to leave. Liberians breathe a sigh of relief. They didn't give a date.
Yes.
So the rebels are pushing towards town.
Yes.
Everyone's starting to flee now.
Yeah.
People are saying these guys are coming, they're going to kill us all.
Yeah.
Taylor decides, okay, on August 11th, 2003, I will leave.
Wow.
We were there reporting live the day he did that. Live. Him making his last announcement at the executive mansion, getting into his car, going all the way
To the airport.
Machakos here
Yes.
and beyond,
Achukulie Machakos.
getting on the plane, which had been flown in. Air Force One in Nigeria had been flown in by Obasanjo. So he gets in, goes to Nigeria, in exile, living a great life in a place called Cross River State.
Alitoka na shilingi. Obviously.
Allah.
Aliiba half.
Ndege ilikuwa
Yes. Nilikuwa na do. Do haina mbili. Yeye na hiyo do ingine.
So he's in Cross River State for a couple of years.
Yes.
Now, it had been said that maybe Obasanjo may have struck a deal with the Americans. Make sure, you know, this guy stays there. We won't bother him.
Yes.
And you just continue your rule in Nigeria. You do a good job. After 2 terms, Obasanjo decides, you know what? I may want a 3rd term.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a 3rd term.
Yeah, nasikia Mungu ananinenea. Nimeitwa kuongoza hii nchi.
George W. Bush, now it's early 2000, right?
Yes.
George W. Bush calls him over to Washington. Says, let's talk about this. While Obasanjo is in the air, the Americans decide it is time to arrest Taylor. And remember, Obasanjo said, no one will touch Taylor as long as I'm president. It's time to arrest Taylor. By the time he's landing in D.C., he's being told, you can't run for a 3rd term. And by the way,
Besti yako.
he's on the run. He's on the run.
Oh, alijua anataka kushikwa.
Yeah, he got it, of course.
Yeah.
Thank God. The Nigerian intelligence, they told him. He gets into like 3 SUVs,
Yes.
heads to the Cameroonian border, dressed as a Nigerian, you know, northerner.
Yes.
Zilenene, Zote.
Agbed.
Zote. Gets to the border, crosses the first border. It's about to cross the second, and then a guard looks into the car and says, hey, Olga, may I know you now? He was curious. He was wondering, where have I seen this guy? Olga, may I know you? So they're there, the car has stopped. Should he run? Should he escape? This, that, the other. Border's shut down. Boom. Taylor identifies himself. He's arrested immediately, flown to Abuja. From there, Abuja straight to Freetown, not Monrovia.
No.
He goes to Monrovia.
Who got that?
He's got too much support.
Yes.
You know, the people still love Taylor. They still, you know,
And fear him.
at the same time. He's flown to Freetown, where he is tried by a special ICC court for Sierra Leone for starting the war there. You know, the one you see in Blood Diamond and Lord of War. They charge him with that, but then they say we cannot try him in Freetown. He's too small. There are too many, you know, too many things could happen.
Yes.
Let's take him to the Hague, special court, but for Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Fly him to the Hague for the next 5 years. He's in trial. Boom, 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 back and forth, 5 years on trial. Finally, I think it was in about 2016 or 2017, he is sentenced to 50 years. By the way, he's 65 years old then.
Yes.
He's sentenced to 50 years.
Si wamemalizana?
That's a life sentence.
Wewe tufunge tu kazi yako.
So as we speak, I think he's in a jail in the UK somewhere. But he wanted to be sent to Rwanda. I don't know why he wants to be in the continent.
No, you want somewhere close. Mahali anaweza ambiwa ni aje? Tokea hapa.
Yes. So, at the same time, Liberians breathe a sigh of relief. They're going to hold elections. Because remember, he left a VP in charge.
Yes.
And they hold elections. And Liberia being a land, I'm telling you, God, they elect Africa's first ever woman president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
Oh, yes.
She gets elected in 2006. Guess what? It had gone right to the wire because the one person she was running against, George Weah.
Oh, yes.
He's still around. He's finished.
Big George.
He's finished his footballing career. He's coming back to help out.
Yes.
But these Americans say, you know what?
Bado.
You need to go to school first, because you never finished school. Why don't you go get a degree?
Yes.
Educate yourself. Polish yourself up.
Kidogo.
Ellen will be there for 1 term, maybe 2 terms max.
Yeah.
Then you can come back. But George had won the popular vote out. You should have seen it. I was covering him in the streets. Popularity. So Weah, being the person he is, he decides, fine, I'll go back to school. Ellen gets in. Country is stabilized. She does her 2 terms, 6 years each. She does it 12 years. They hold elections in 2017, 2 years ago. And guess
Passes the ball.
George Manning Weah, the captain himself, is now captain of Liberia.
So, Ballon d'Or.
The only African to have ever won the Ballon d'Or, the Golden Boot, and no African has won it since. So now he's coming with those skills. And I asked him in the interview, I said, what skills did you learn on the football field that are going to help you as president? But here's the deal. He was inaugurated in January 2018, right? A year and a half ago.
Yes.
The criticism that he's getting on a daily basis is just unfathomable. For a country that's broken, you're coming from zero.
Yes.
Ellen was there for 12 years, but it was tough. Transition.
Yes.
No. And now this man who was used to being the
superstar of the world.
Superstar. Everyone's praising him and lording over him.
Yes.
Now he finds himself. A typical saying, a prophet is never recognized in his own home. And press.
Everybody wants so much from him.
On the radio, online, everywhere. Weah is always being criticized. And I told him, Mr. President, do you regret? Because you won everything else out there. Why don't you just say, who gives about this league? Forget this league. You could live in Monaco.
Monaco? Ronaldo?
Forget Monrovia. Go to Monaco.
Na yacht.
Yes.
Yes.
But he says, I'm a Liberian, Jeff. I have to do this for my people. So 172 years later, Independence Day was last week.
Yes.
They celebrated 172 years since independence. George Weah is president number 25. Now he finds himself in the driver's seat, and we'll have to wait and see.
Ulimwambia kuhusu Kibaki.
Kuhusu?
Kibaki. Anyamaze, afanye tu kazi. Akwe tu Kibaki. Yes, anyamaze tu. Afanye kazi.
By the way, he's my age, huh?
He's your age?
Yeah. He was born in October 66.
Man!
Nirika.
My man!
What happened to some of us?
No. We are doing good.
No, what happened?
We are doing
Tulikosea Mungu.
No hata ulienda kumuona. Si wengine ndio
So
tunachungulia.
that interview will be tonight on Jeff Koinange Live, and that's a brief history of Africa's oldest republic, Liberia, named after the word liberty, capital named after the 5th United States President James Monroe. And that's what we call Atiba, that's what we call a
Catch Jeff Koinange and Professor Hemo every day, Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Hot 96.